The following is a paid advertisement. The views expressed are the sole responsibility of the advertiser.
Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark is proudly sponsored by Renewal by Andersen, your full-service window and door replacement company. Learn more at rbafla.com.
Put the power back in your hands. This is Behind the Law with attorney Justin Clark.
Welcome to Behind the Law, presented by Renewal by Andersen. I am your host, Justin Clark. Great show, kind of a different show today. Joined as always, not as always actually, by my beautiful co-host. He's still beautiful, Dan Brigman, filling in for Michaela. So Michaela's doing some of her Miss America stuff today or something like that. So we had to let her go, gave her a day off. I'm fine with that. Certainly happy to have Dan Brigman here from Renewal by Andersen. Dan, how are you? Good to see you.
I'm doing great and glad to be here, and thanks for the opportunity.
So I wanted to do a show about, because a lot of people are thinking about starting a business. And this is not just people starting their own business. These are self-employed people, whether they're real estate agents or people who are really starting a business, and you've started many businesses. And I wanted to talk about some of the pitfalls that you can run into when you start a business, or, you know, better yet, some of the great decisions that can be made before you start that business. What do you think? If you were to tell someone out there right now that they're starting a business, what is the number one thing they need to look at?
The number one thing is, do I know what I want to do, and do I have a plan?
Yeah. I think that's fantastic. I always tell people, because I see the negative side of it, I see people that come in who have all these horrible IRS problems because they did not have their plan accounting-wise at first. I think, you know, that initial profit and loss statement or hiring that accountant at the very beginning is hugely important, because if not, the IRS can shut you down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, you've got to have your projections, you've got to know, and you've got to be able to prove to your lender that you're going to be able to accomplish what your dream is, and without that, you're in trouble.
Yep. Special guest host joining me today, Dan Brigman. We're going to talk all things to you who have thought about getting rid of that boss and starting your own business, as Behind the Law continues. Justin here with the beautiful Michaela. How are you?
I'm good, how are you?
There's been a major shift happening in the air conditioning industry, and Old Ash, together with Duquesne, is leading the way.
Committed to the future, Old Ash introduces a new generation of systems that use R454B refrigerant, an innovative alternative that reduces global warming potential by 78% compared to the R410A.
This change is perfect opportunity for anyone looking to replace an old unit or install a new air conditioning system. Old Ash wants you to understand what these changes mean so you can make the best decisions for you, your home, and your family. With a simplified product lineup, compatibility with both R410A and R454B equipment, and available refrigerant detection system kits, the transition is smooth and efficient.
Old Ash technicians are fully trained and certified in these new procedures, ensuring a professional installation that meets the latest industry standards. And most importantly, you'll have peace of mind knowing that their team is with you every step of the way.
With Duquesne and Old Ash, every unit installed is a step towards cleaner air and a more sustainable future. Stay informed, stay cool. Trust Duquesne.
Give them a call today to learn more about these changes and how they could affect your AC unit, and let their trusted service providers guide you through it. Old Ash, educating ourselves to educate you.
Welcome back to the show. A lot of people, especially during COVID, had work from home, and they were like, look, I can't fathom the thought of going back to work for that nasty boss. I want to start my own business. What are some of the things, if you're starting your own business, that you really need to focus on before starting your business, and some of the pitfalls that we have seen? Dan Brigman is here, Renewal by Andersen. Dan, you've started a lot of businesses, including you really helped start up the Renewal by Andersen here. But what are some of the things that you have seen people do when they start a business just didn't work out? What are some of the pitfalls?
Yeah, so some of the things that they forgot to think about brand recognition. They forgot to think about, you know, how am I going to advertise? Who is my client? What am I selling? Or the demographics of where I'm selling the product, is that what they're looking for? And the list just goes on and on, but you have to put together that financial plan, and you have to be prepared. I mean, the first 5 years are going to be kind of tough.
Yeah. The financial plan, I think, is hugely important. And you think about the lady who decided she has the best cookies in the world, and quite frankly, she probably does have the best cookies in the world. Yet no one's going to find out about your cookies unless you have money to let the public know about those cookies. I mean, the brand recognition is huge. How do I really balance in that financial plan how much I'm going to spend on advertising?
Yeah, that's a good question. And, you know, it reminds me of an old saying, you know, what comes first, the appointment or the sale, or is it the marketing spent to get it, right? And so I think that you have to plan on you have to take that risk, high risk, high reward, and so you have to be on a show like this. you have to get that brand recognition out there. That to me is where it really starts.
We've been doing this show for quite a while now, and we've talked to a lot of businesses, and what you have done with the Renewal by Andersen brand here in this market has been insane. To watch the growth has been, first of all, I'm proud of you guys. Second of all, I'm always happy to send people over to you because I know you'll do such a great job. How have you done it really from the ground up at Renewal by Andersen?
Yeah, so first of all, I think a lot of credit goes to our CMO, Chelsea Zerpola. I mean, she is the queen, if you will, of branding a name. And what we set out to do, and we have a great team. It's our people, and if we're talking about businesses, you got to look at your business. You got to look at your people, you got to look at your process, and you got to look at your product. And how do I get all three of those out into the public so that people know what each one of those stand for? If you have bad people, people are going to pick up on that fast. Mm-hmm. If you have bad product, people are going to pick up on that fast. And if you have bad processes, they're going to pick up on it. So those are the three key ingredients. And so how you brand recognition that is you go out and you build relationships with folks. Like, for example, we partnered with Tampa Bay Bucks. We partnered with Jacksonville Jaguars. We partnered with you. The people who make a difference in the community, that's where you have to start.
So let's go back to these cookies for a minute. So these cookies are the best cookies ever. When it comes to your windows are the best windows that you can buy, no doubt about it. Okay, so now I have a great product. How do I treat the customer? The person who's buying the cookies, or the person for you who's buying the windows or the doors, how do you treat that person?
Well, the short answer is you treat them like your mother. Yeah. Okay, but the belief that you have to have when you're in business is you have to have the belief in your heart that you want to passionately improve the place that they live, and so you can have the best product like we do, but if you go out there and you don't have the customer service, or you don't have the customer delight, or you don't have a care program that cares for the community, all of these things build that brand recognition.
Yeah, and then at some point you're going to start this business, and hopefully your business is going to grow. You're going to have other people working under you. You've got to train those people as well. You have to train them with your own mentality, and that can be hard to do, but I think that's kind of what you specialize in, is developing a team around you who are going to treat these customers just like you would treat them. But that's hard. How did you learn how to do that, and how do you train people like that?
Yeah, I think it comes from having a humble beginning, right? We have to be humble as individuals, and the other thing that we have to do is we can't be afraid to hire people that are better than us. I'm here on this show, and I made Renewal look good, but I didn't do it. I found the right people, and we put processes in place to coach them, whether it were mentoring programs and so forth. So as you begin to build your business and you find these right folks and you coach them, whether it's in customer delight or in the home experience, what you do is you pull those teams together, and you can make high impact teams or high impact performing teams. And then what you can do is you can mobilize that team anywhere you decide to grow next. And that's how you do it. That's the secret recipe.
Well, at some point, and I hope this happens to you as you start your business, that you're able to, we would call scale it. Because when you start scaling something, when you build something great, you can scale it and move it in different locations in different areas. Not easy to do either, but I think that is what Renewal by Andersen is doing, is scale. How have we been able to do that?
Yeah, so we've been able to scale by looking at the different org charts that would allow us to design career paths for folks that can grow, because let's face it, we may own a $100 million business today and be ran by a certain group of managers. That same group of managers may not be able to handle a $200 million or $300 or $400 million company. So you have to, in your scaling process, as these folks, as you look at your org chart, you have to be able to align the dynamic people who can climb that ladder and not stay stuck in a $100 million mentality or a $200 million mentality. They have to be able to grow mentally with the business.
Yeah, I think about brute force a lot when I think about small business owners, and especially someone who's starting out by themselves. And the best analogy I can ever come up with is the lawn service guy, right? So you have the lawn service guy who he owns the company, but he's actually out there weed eating your grass as well. But then you have the lawn service guy who hasn't touched a mower in 50 years, and he has a group of people around him. For people who are starting a business, that brute force initially, when you're kind of doing everything yourself, and then you transition that over to having people help you, I think it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude, so to speak, but also a lot of intelligence as well. Well, what would you tell someone who's trying to overcome that first obstacle of brute force, doing everything themselves, to transitioning to having a team to help them?
It's a great question, and it's something that I had to learn myself. And I can tell you this, you or I could do, we are going to do it 100% correct, because that's how we're built. Yeah. And what you have to come to realize is the person that you put under you is not going to do it as good as you right away. But the truth of the matter is, if we overload ourselves at on an org chart at this level, if we overload ourselves, we're going to become, we're going to be doing 40% average on everything we do, where we could have 2 or 3 people doing it at 80% of what we do, and you actually accomplish more. So what you do is you find people and you develop them. And you can't be worried about if they can do it as good as you. But what you can do is you can run what I call shoulder-to-shoulder management. You got to be able to, in the example you used, you got to be able to pick up the weed eater. You can't just be a dictator. You can't tell folks how to do it and expect them to do it. You got to show them, and you got to hold their hand for a while. And the truth of the matter is, shoulder-to-shoulder management, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, I know that Renewal just started a place up in the Panhandle, which I'm very proud of you. I don't know if I should even say this, but whatever, I just did. But I think what small business owners, people who first start their business, kind of lose focus on is how important information is, and collecting the data for every single customer from customer one. I mean, you had customer one in the Panhandle here recently. To be able to collect that data and always have it to where you can always reach back out to them. You know, I mean, how important is that customer data collection? Yeah, you got to have it. You got to do the market research. You got to know the single-family dwellings in a certain area. And if you deep dive even deeper into that, you got to find out what's going on in the community. You got to find out it's funny when you go into some of these smaller communities, you find out what people like and don't like really quick just by having conversations. And so you have a CRM system or a data system that you can record, or you can put this data in so that you have it. And then once you have it, you can now do surveys, you can do follow-up calls, you can do relationship building trends, and these work really well. Folks will tell you everything you want to know. Yeah. So you have worked at the same place for 20 years. You've always gotten that paycheck every 2 weeks. You have 2 or 3 kids, and you are comfortable, but you're also feeling a little bit bored, like you're not challenged enough, and you want to take a little bit of a risk to do something on your own. Should you do it? As Behind the Law continues. Introducing to you today my trusted source when it comes to all things estate planning and probate. It is Marshall Law. The man behind it all is John Marshall. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Doing well. How important is estate planning in someone's adult life?
Estate planning is necessary for us all. I think people have an idea that estate planning is for the wealthy. No, estate planning encompasses much more than just assets. It's who's going to make decisions for us if we become incapacitated? Who's going to be able to pay our bills if we reach a point where, we can't cut those checks or, handle those finances because of an incapacity issue? And it's sad, but, it's likely going to happen to us. We're living longer, and as a result, the odds of you dying without having an incapacity issue are on the, going down. So you're likely to have a period of incapacity before then. We need the proper documents in place.
We do estate planning to avoid probate, but you do help people through probate when they have to. What is probate?
Probate is the process of transferring assets out of someone's name after they have passed away. And we would like to avoid probate because it's a court case and it takes a long period of time and can be costly.
Yeah. You're a great man, a great attorney. I look forward to getting to know you better. And I think that you should always call martial law about any sort of estate planning or probate questions. Do that today. I'm attorney Justin Clark. If you've been threatened by the IRS and you're feeling scared, call me now or visit youhavepower.com. Welcome back to the show. Happy weekend, by the way. So here's the deal. We've worked for the same person forever, and this happens within families as well. I have never worked for anyone, or since I was maybe 25. I've not had a boss. I've always done things myself. I think I had like $2,000 in my bank account when I started my law firm, something like that. It was probably not the smartest idea, but I was 25 and full of intestinal fortitude. I don't know any other term for it. My younger brother, who's 42, has worked for the same company since the day he walked out of college. He went to one of those career fairs and he's worked for J.B. Hunt this entire time. And he's happy with that. He'll probably have more money than me. I don't know. I'll either be super rich or super poor, and he's going to be doing well for himself. You know what I mean? But these are the decisions that we have to make as people, as adults, especially as parents. We have to decide what is fulfilling to us career-wise. Dan, you've started a lot of companies, right? And I've started a few companies as well. I mean, how fulfilling is that when something that you've thought of and you've started and you see it really grow to something special?
I mean, boastfully, it feels really good,
Yeah.
But humbly, the real win is to see that you've helped somebody else change their life. Because as you begin to employ people and you begin to give them opportunities they thought they never could have, and it puts a big smile on your face, and it's a selfish kind of joy. But I think that's one of the big wins. And
yeah. Let's talk about the business plan for a moment, because I hear business plan this, business plan that. What does that mean? And do I go on AI? Do I Google business plan? I mean, what do you tell someone who's starting their own business about how to create a business plan?
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is yes, go on AI.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
No, I mean, creating a business plan, you've got to get the right people involved. Remember, most of us start a business because we want to do something we like, whether we want to go build kitchens or whether we want to cut grass or sell windows. But there's a lot more to the business than just that piece, right? You have somebody who has to know the accounting. You have somebody who has to know the inventory and the warehousing. You have to have somebody who knows the marketing and the branding. And you have to know what to do with your accounts when you make money. Are you putting profits in sweep accounts? Are you holding the money a certain amount of time before you go to reuse it and things like that? So you've got to find people who know what you do not know.
Yeah. How important do you think my love or understanding of the product or service I'm selling is to the business I'm starting?
I think it's crucial. Yeah. Because here's what's going to happen. If you don't love what you do, you're going to burn out. And it's typically not going to work out for you long term. I mean, if we look at statistically, what is it, like 92% of people who try to start their own business fail, and one of the number one reasons is they did it for the wrong reason, and they didn't have the love and the passion for what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I also think that we lose track a little bit that starting your own business does not necessarily mean that you're starting your new cookie company or your new landscaping company. Starting your own business can also mean you're going out on a limb and starting in a commission-only sales job. You're going to be a real estate agent or broker. You don't have to start your own business necessarily. While you would want to create your own LLC, I'm sure, it doesn't mean that you're starting your own thing. You can become something where you're commission only. When you talk to someone like that, and even people that you hire, what sort of self-drive do you think you have to start a new career as a commission-only type person or a real estate person who's got to go find their own business?
Right. If you think about it, these folks that we're talking about, they're almost like entrepreneurs without the capital, without the overhead, right? Sure. I mean, they're probably given the lead or they're probably given the prospect and they have to go out. So I think what you have to start with and what you have to educate these folks on is mindset. You have to, they have to do a checkup from the neck up is what I always say.
Yeah.
And so you got to be every day when you wake up, you have to be driven to win. And that doesn't mean going out and lying to people. What it means is going out and being the very best that you can be.
Yeah, and we talk to real estate agents about this all the time because they might have a career where they're getting a W-2 and they've been doing it for a long time. They're sick of their boss and they want to become a real estate agent. And they're like, I'm not going to have to work as hard because I just have to go show some houses on the weekends. And I tell them it's totally different. You're going to work harder, but maybe you're doing something that you enjoy way more. But this self-motivation factor, I think, is something you've got to look in the mirror and say, do I have that self-motivation to go out and do it? Because you're probably going to have to work harder as commission only.
Right, 100%. I mean, you can almost relate it to working out at a gym, right? I mean, some people...
What is that?
Yeah, that's all right. I haven't seen one in years. But I can't even spell it. What folks, it's like, some people have the ability to go down to a gym and they don't need a trainer. Yeah. They can look in the mirror and say, man, I am doing it and all out. And then there's some people, their hands got to be held. They got to be told, go do it. The moral of the story is it doesn't matter which person you are. What matters is that you realize which person you are, because now you know how to react. Now you know what it's going to take for you to be your best. Right. And so do I need somebody that's going to knock me in the head every day and say, hey, you got this, let's go? Or am I that person that can do it?
Do you think that person can change, though, too? That person maybe is just super bored in their job, and they really don't have a lot of motivation, but if they experience some new challenges and something that really fascinated them, could they go from someone who feels like they might be lazy and don't care to someone who's actually really passionate and can go get it?
I think absolutely they can.
Yeah.
Yep, I think they can, and that's just because I'm one of these people that I believe in everybody. And I think if you have the right mentor and you can coach that person, then they're going to be successful. Now, there are people that are just never going to move, right? I mean, and they should seriously think about that.
Any certain signs that you look for when you're hiring people about?
Yeah, I mean, emotional intelligence is always a big one, right? I mean, can you have a conversation with somebody? Usually I can tell with the first 5 minutes,
really?
If other people are going to like you. It's all, it's eye contact, or you being fake with your voice inflections, or you being fake with your body language, or you're somebody you're really not. And that's usually pretty easy to figure out once you hang out with somebody for about 5 minutes.
You and I both grew up very humble roots, and I always feel guilty when I say I grew up without a lot of money because, and again, I was visiting my mother this weekend. We didn't have a lot of money, but Dan, I had all the love in the world. I did. And so I feel guilty, like I'm discrediting my mother when I say I didn't grow up with a lot, because I did. I grew up with a ton of love. But I think growing up with humble roots changes you forever. I hope it does. At least it has with me, and how you treat other people. You grew up humbly in South Carolina as well. How has that changed you?
Yeah, well, first of all, I don't smell anymore because I used to dig in dumpsters when I was, 7 or 8 years old. But, I I didn't realize we didn't have money until I understood what money was.
Yeah.
And because the family and the love, you know, I grew up in a background of faith, and but the love was intentional in the family. And but what I did see was I saw a family pushing me, and I saw a family that that once I understood the value of a dollar and what it meant to survive in this world, you know, they taught me, you know, to pivot with a purpose and find purpose in life.
I agree, totally agree. All right, one quick break. When we come back, we will wrap it up as always with What Did We Learn? With special guest host Dan Brigman.
It is never a bad time to prioritize your health, your well-being. That is why I come to Bellam Wellness. I'm joined by Dr. Zaidi. You are a primary care physician first and foremost, but you started Bellam Wellness. Tell me a little bit about why you started it.
Bellam actually has been my passion from quite some time. I wanted to do something a little bit more than the primary care, so we can take care of patients from inside out. We want them to feel better.
It means beautiful soul, right?
Beautiful soul, absolutely.
And I love that, because not only do you offer some aesthetic services, but pain management, you really do it all. Tell me about some of the other services you offer here.
The main is, which I love the most, is my laser services.
I love it too. That's where I get my laser hair removal done.
So the most common, as you know, is our laser hair removal, but we do the fine lines, wrinkles, scars.
Spider veins.
Spider veins, absolutely. That's one of my favorite to perform, actually, because you can see the results instantaneously. And scars, as I mentioned, and brown spots, pigmented spots.
Because we all have something that we're a little insecure about, because we always look in the mirror, but you really help people find the beauty within themselves and kind of fix those little imperfections along the way. Dr. Zaidi, I trust you with all my aesthetic related services.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And your family is so inspirational. I love the husband, the kids, all of them. I really enjoy coming here.
Thank you so much. And we look forward to continue giving service to you and the whole of the Central Florida.
Yeah, do yourself a favor. If you want to check out this amazing list of services, look no further than Bellam Wellness.
And we wrap it up today, as always, with What Did We Learn? For the first time ever on the show, we had a special guest host. He's with Renewal by Andersen, Dan Brigman. I want to talk about Renewal by Andersen for a minute. I know everything about you, by the way, at this point, but I learned even more today. Renewal by Andersen, I think of your company as almost too big to fail in some ways. And I say that because we live in a state where we have so many storm chasers in the contracting world who come to this state and rip people off and take their money, especially after a storm, that it makes me sick. And they come to my office all the time. Renewal by Andersen never would do that.
No, absolutely not. I mean, first of all, it's not worth it because I'm gonna digress to that statement. Is a company too big to fail? You know, there's a lot of big companies that failed. I mean, if I'm allowed to say it, I mean, let's look at Sears. I mean, things changed over time, and we all knew who they were for the longest time. And for whatever reason, it happened. So you have to keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah, got it. You guys are doing a wonderful job. I always feel I feel safe when I send people to you because I know how you're going to treat them. And it's one of those things where it's not like you have to roll out the red carpet for them. I know no matter what, when I put them into the Renewal by Andersen system, my clients are going to be treated amazingly just because that's how you go. And I've learned that with the growth that you've had and just what a wonderful job you've done with all the people who watch this show and we've talked to. Dan Brigman, thank you so much, buddy. Good to see you. Thank you to our amazing crew. Most importantly, thank you. See you again next week for more Behind the Law.
The proceeding was a paid advertisement. The views expressed were the sole responsibility of the advertiser.